All right, welcome to War Media Bears Den. This is our 2023 Chicago Bears season preview. I am Saul Rodriguez, joined as always by my co-host Joe Tanksley. We are also joined by Shawn, who you have seen on Sports Zone Chicago. He is officially joining us on our Bears coverage, and he will be with us all season long. So welcome to you, Shawn. Glad to have you on with us. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on. I love talking Bears. I love talking sports. Man, let's get it.
Oh yeah. And Joe, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pumped up. The tenth is I can smell it, I can taste it, and I'm excited.
No, yeah, same thing. I mean, like just seeing everyone getting ready for this game. For example, tomorrow as the season kicks off, of course, with the Lions and the Chiefs. Everyone's excited. Just smells that in the air. Love to see it. Uh, you, you know, we also we might have Ryan Bukovetsky joining us later on as well. So love to have him on, another work colleague. But here we go. The 2023 NFL season kicks off Thursday, and we're all excited. I want to get you guys going, of course, with the Bears, because of course this is the Bears season preview. I want to start you guys off with a simple one. How do you feel going into the 2023 season? I mean, are you hopeful, expect more of the same, or just, expect more of the same with some individual improvements? What are you guys seeing? We'll start with you, Joe.
I think this year, it'd be a disappointment if the Bears weren't more competitive than they were last year. I mean, they tanked. Ryan
Mm-hmm.
Poles, sent off, traded away all the best players and everything, and they were going for a high draft pick, which they accomplished. But this year, they upgraded the roster tremendously. So you definitely, we're expecting the Bears to be a lot more competitive, and kind of, show some improvement, across the board.
What about you, Sean?
I expect something a little different. The culture that's been set by Ryan Poles and Coach Eberflus and it started last year. All right, you just don't that has to be established first, and they've done that. And you see the kind of guys that they draft, you see the kind of guys that they don't draft. All right, you get guys who are high energy, high motor guys, good character guys. Um, I'm expecting a very, very good season. All right. There's a lot of talent here. You're going in the second year of the same system for Justin Fields. All right. He hasn't had to say that. It's been 3 years now or 2 years since he was at Ohio State, where he was in the same system 2 years in a row. They've added playmakers for him. They've upgraded the offensive line for him. They've added a lot of pieces on defense, not for him, but for the team, which is good. But that also helps. I'm looking at the Bears to be extremely competitive. I look for them to be in the hunt for the NFC North title. They're looking to take the North and never give it back. So I think this year could be good. Don't get me wrong. I still respect what Green Bay has, even though it's not Aaron Rodgers. They still have a squad. I still respect. I'm concerned about the Lions. They're playing very, very well because their culture is good too. But and also the Minnesota Vikings. They lost a couple of key players, and I think that's going to hurt them. So the Bears are in the mix for the NFC North title. I wouldn't expect anything less this year. And I think that Justin Fields really is tired of all the people just talking. There's just so much bullshit that people about him. Well, he hasn't proven this. He's not this. And if you go by the numbers, sure, okay, you're right, he hasn't. But if you look at what he's done, look at him since he's in high school, in college. This kid's a winner. All right, he's a leader. He's for a reason. All right, he's putting in all the hard work. This guy is going to be he's going to be something special. And I think in about 3 years, and I know this might sound crazy, in 3 years he'll be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. He'll be one of the top and it might be him and Jalen Hurts in the NFC. Maybe Garoppolo's not there. Yeah, in the NFC. Against all those good quarterbacks in the AFC. Justin Fields has the potential and the talent to be one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the NFL. A few years down the road. Not right now, but a few years down the road.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's one of the things, going into the season, how I feel, right, is, proving some naysayers wrong and proving that the Bears, because I keep seeing everyone, oh, the Lions are going to take the NFC North, the Vikings are going to take the NFC North and all that, but everyone's just kind of the Bears. So, it's one of those things you just want to see the naysayers, go down. So, but hey, going off on your, Justin Fields talk as well, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on him. Going into year three, what do you guys imagine for him this season? Will he break out, or do you imagine another year of progress, but nothing, nothing too crazy? But because a lot of people, think with the O-line issues, he can only grow so much. Pro Football Focus has him ranked 18th out of 30 starting quarterbacks. You guys think that's about right? We'll start with you, Shawn, and going off as you were talking about him. How do you see more from that aspect of him ranked 18th? Like, do you think that's right?
First of all, I'm not a big fan of a lot of times you get people who've never played the game and don't understand the game and don't understand the nuances or what they see or what's happening in front of them. With that being said, 18th is fine. He's shown that he can run. He hasn't shown, and not by his fault completely, but he's shown he hasn't been able to consistently pass. I mean, think of all the drop passes and things of that nature. That extends drive, that wins a couple games, or the fumble. You know what I mean? Where it means in a preseason, I mean, let's be honest, it don't mean shit. It don't. Now maybe it's bulletin board material for him, and I hope it is. Okay. But trust me, he's going to be in that top 10. By the end of the season. Justin Fields he's a competitor, he's a winner, and I don't think family. You've got people who pay attention to all that stuff. Say, hey dog, they got you here. Hey dog, they got you there. He's like, I bet I ain't worried about it. But in the back of his mind, he's a competitor. He's a competitor, and he wants to be the best. And if not, I mean, think of what he's done this offseason. All right, he's had guys flying around the country, whether it's Southern California or Georgia or South Florida, to work out with him. You saw DJ Moore, you saw Chase Claypool for a little bit. Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet. This guy, wherever this guy is, he's the Pied Piper. He has his people following him. He's a winner. He's going to excel, and I think he's going to have a great season. And I think, I know we're probably going to talk about yards and the touchdowns later, but I think he's going to open some eyes this year with what he's going to have.
What about you, Joe? What's your stance on Justin Fields going into year three?
You know what? You talk about the ranking 18th. That's a little bit lower than middle of the road. But based on what he's done, I think he could be a little bit higher. I think he has some special tools that no other quarterback in the league besides Lamar Jackson has. Maybe Josh Allen, but you're talking about his ability to run. His ability to throw on the move, his ability to extend plays. The Bears won 3 games last year, but it wasn't because Justin Fields was bad. It's because the defense was terrible. They put points on the board. He was a big part of it, probably the sole reason they were, in a lot of those games. I think. And that's one of the main reasons, like, Vegas has him as, such favorable odds to be an MVP this year, because they're looking at the weapons that we've added with DJ Moore, Robert Tonyan, and Chase Claypool with a full year, with a full offseason, I should say, to get acclimated to the playbook. These weapons that he's going to have is going to help him tremendously. You got some bookend tackles now, that can kind of keep guys off of him and keep them clean a little bit. I think he's poised to make a big step this year. And the thing about it is, when we play football, there's going to be some bad games, and people overreact to some of those things. It's not going to be linear, but week in and week out, Justin Fields goes out there, he's going to give the Bears the best chance to win, and that's all that matters.
Real quick. So, they talk about, there was a statistic on the 4-Letter Network, and they were talking about quarterbacks who get their stud receiver. So in 2019, Josh Allen was 24th in QBR. Mind you, QBR is not the end all be all, okay, but it does show efficiency and good, and the good quarterback play. He was 24th, okay, in QBR. They got Stephon Diggs after that season, and in 2020, he went to 3rd. All right, in 2021, Jalen Hurts. Remember, that's when they were trying to get him. They wanted to run him out of town in Philly, if you remember. They wanted they wanted him out. All right, he was 19th in QBR, and in 2021 and 22 they got AJ Brown. He went to fourth in QBR. Okay, same thing, same years 2021. Tua Tagovailoa was 18th. Okay, and in 2022 they got Tyreek Hill, the cheetah. He went up to third in QBR. Okay, last year the Justin Fields was 17th in QBR. We acquired DJ Moore. Where's he going to be? So looking at top 5 as far as QBR, and if that's the case, he's hitting checkdowns. He's hitting. So one of the things that I really want Justin to do, and I've seen it, and I think it's going to be huge for him. See, Justin feels likes the long ball. All right, he loves the long ball. He's got a beautiful long ball. All right, but hit those crosses. Remember, we're in the Green Bay Packers system where they run those crossing routes, those meshing routes, those pick routes, whatever you want to call them, and you're going to get somebody free. All right, how do you think? Who is Jordy Nelson got free on us every single freaking game for like 7 years in a row. All right. Imagine trying to catch Velus Jones, or imagine trying to catch Tyler Scott, or imagine trying to catch Chase Claypool off a rub route, or imagine trying to catch DJ Moore coming off a rub route. Okay. These are the things that Justin Fields has to take. And if he takes, hey, that extra 30 yards that he gets, that still goes on your passing yards too. So I think he's shown early on that he's not afraid to take those. And if he does start taking those, man, his QBR is going to go through the roof, and he's going to have a lot of yards on his stats this year.
Oh yeah. And that's true. I mean, the confidence it does for a guy to have a guy, like that on his offense, especially a guy like Justin Fields, who hasn't had guys like that on his offense at all. And now he has, plenty of options, especially DJ Moore, the way they're going to focus on him and, open up other guys, for example, like Darnell Mooney or something like that. So I'm definitely excited to see what he could do in the full season, with the wide receiver number 1 like that. But speaking of guys they've added, as they added DJ Moore in the offseason, as well to the defense, they added guys like Tremaine Edwards, and Yannick Ngakoue. Which one of the new guys do you guys think is going to make the biggest impact on the Bears this season? It could also be a rookie, like Tyler Scott or even Tyreek Stevenson. But who do you guys got? We'll start with you, Joe.
The biggest impact that from a new player on the Bears this season, definitely you got to say DJ Moore. Shawn just laid it out, with the QBR stat, which was great. But secondly, I like what Tremaine Edmonds is going to bring to that defense, and having a general in the middle of the field, who can take up space, and you can, kind of play more of a classic cover 2, like, we're used to seeing in Chicago, what Urlacher and Briggs, did back in the day. I still think, I'm interested to see how the interior of that defensive line is going to be. That's going to be, very important. So a guy like Billings, who they brought in to plug and stop the run, he needs to show up big, especially, on Sunday, because, Green Bay with those two running backs love to pound the ball. And that's what they're going to come in and try to do, and make the Bears prove that they can stop the run. So that's going to be very important in week 1. Other impact players, I really like Kyler Gordon to take a big step this year. He had a great camp. He's, looking confident. Nobody has hips and feet like him in the league. Like, he has tremendous speed. His ability to turn and change direction and, stay close to guys. That's going to be perfect for a nickelback who plays in the slot. So I really am expecting big things from him.
What about you, Shawn? Which is one guy that you think is going to make a big impact this coming up season?
There are quite a few that are going to, but I think Tyreek Stevenson, and I think the reason he's going to have a lot of opportunities. They're going to pick on him. He's a rookie. He's loud. He's brash. He's braggadocious. He's arrogant. All right, and people are going to want to shut him up. All right, and he's going to have a lot of opportunities to make plays for big hits, for PBU, pass breakups, for interceptions. All right, he's got to make sure he does it. I'm happy he caught that last one. I'm glad he missed the 2 and caught the last one, because he's going into the season on a high note, as opposed to picking one off the first game and then maybe missing and dropping 2 in the second and third game. I would have liked all 3, obviously, But I think Tyreek Stevenson is going to have a huge impact because they're going to go after him. They're going to go see, just like they did. They went after Gordon last year. When he was on the outside, they didn't throw a Jalen Johnson. They're going to say, okay, we got this rookie who's talking a lot of shit. Let's see what he's got. And he starts picking balls off. Where are you going to throw the ball? You're going to throw it to Jalen Johnson's side? You're going to throw it over that side? All right. Are you going to throw it to the slot? And, and you made a good point, Tony, was about Tremaine Edmonds, is that his ability, his size, and his length. I mean, it really narrows the middle of the field. It makes your pinpoint throws down the middle. Your throws have to be pinpoint because you have to get it over his 6'5" frame and his almost 7-foot wingspan. Okay, over that, but in front of Eddie Jackson. That's not an easy thing to do. So, but to answer your question, Tyreek Stevenson, I think he's going to have the most opportunity. I think he's and hopefully for him and hopefully for the Bears defense and the Bears in general, he's ready. Because if he picks, man, he's one of those guys who he's looking for a house call every time. Him and Eddie Jackson, he picks it off. He's taking that to the house. All right, he came from the U. The brash and the braggadocious and the swagger that they have there. It's got to be on. It's got to be on 10 when you wake up. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be on 10. Otherwise, you can't be at Miami cornerback. So he's got it. And he should be ready and be welcoming all the action he's going to get, because he can literally win Rookie of the Year within the first half of the season if he has a few picks, a couple PBUs, a couple of nice solid hits, because he's also good in the run game. Let's not get that twisted. All right, and if there's a receiver who catches it in front of him, you got to lay the wood. This kid can be really, really, really special.
Yeah, no, and even like his post-game comments, after the final preseason game kind of showed that he wasn't necessarily satisfied with what his work in the, in the preseason in general, even with that pick. I like that, the fact that he's holding himself to, accountable, and he's a rookie, and he's not satisfied. He's hungry for more. So I'm definitely, excited to see what he can do. And another segue for Shawn Sierra, because, hey, man, look, I'm thinking about the defense as well. Will it take a step forward or not? What holes are still there, and what do you guys expect from guys like, Jack Sanborn, Jaquan Brisker, Eddie Jackson, as you guys mentioned already as well? What do you see for the defense in 2023, Joe?
I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I think they upgraded. I think that secondary is phenomenal. It has to be the potential to be the best in the league. It all boils down to the interior, that pass rush, though. I think, Yannick Ngakoue and Walker, who they brought in, someone on that defensive line has to, be the leader in sacks. It can't be the safety. So I think somebody from the defensive line needs to step up, and they have to prove that they can stop the run. That's important. You have to earn the right to rush the passer, and they didn't do that last year. I think, they can come in and be solid against the run. You're going to have some opportunities with that secondary, to take the ball. And one thing that I did like that I saw in the preseason is that, everybody was rallying to the ball and they were tackling the ball, creating a lot of turnovers. And I think that's, something that's going to help propel them forward this season.
What about you, Shawn? What, do you see the defense taking a step forward yourself, or, you mentioned it already, we know with Tyreek Stevenson, for example, is that a guy that's going to help the Bears, improve their defense, immensely, or how do you see it overall?
I think this defense is going to take a huge jump. Yeah. All right. I think Billings was the key. All right. You got somebody in there who's a known run stopper. Okay. While you're still trying, like Justin Jones was serviceable, was decent last year, but he had no help. Now you got Billings, okay? Then you got two stud linebackers in Edmonds and Edwards. All right, those two guys are going to help a lot. All right. For me, I think the biggest thing is, can they stop the run? But two, can they collapse the pocket from the inside? Because we saw, man, Yannick Ngakoue got that. His first step is beautiful. I mean, his ability, his quickness of getting the ball, and sure, sometimes the tackle is going to be able to just push him by the quarterback, and that's fine. It happens all the time. But is a quarterback going to be able to step up? His quarterback's inability to step up is going to be the issue. All right. If they can start collapsing that pocket from the inside, if Billings can get some push, okay. If Justin Jones can get some push, if Javon Dexter or I'm gonna call him Sack Pickens, if he can get some push on the inside, there's a lot of problems. Quarterbacks don't like pressure in their face. They hate pressure in their face. It's easy from the side. You can step up. If he's coming from the right, step up, just go to the right where he came from. But if it's in your face, there's a lot of things that could happen. You have to short arm the ball. All right, if you follow through, you have a chance to hit your offensive lineman in the helmet, break a finger. There's a lot of bad stuff that happens when you can't follow through. So if they can do that, which I think they did, I think that they got enough guys, and they're just hoping that these guys pan out the way that they want. They're going to be able to collapse that pocket. And if you collapse that pocket and you give this secondary, which is definitely the strength of this defense, you give them an extra second or less. You give them a second less that they have to cover, or that ball comes out a half a second sooner than the quarterback wants. Now you're looking at picks. You're looking at house calls. You're looking at PBUs. You're looking at big hits. You're looking at incompletions. You're looking at a lot of stuff. I think this defense is going to really take a big step forward. And I'm not putting them any guys in the Pro Bowl or gold jackets by any means, but I think the sum is going to be greater than the parts. And I think that these guys are going to, they love playing together as a defense, and that's huge. And two, they're just going to continue to get better. They're going to keep gelling. And how do you keep gelling? You put pressure on the quarterback. How do you keep gelling? You sack the quarterback. How do you keep gelling? You give them 3 and out. How do you keep gelling? You give your offense short fields. They start doing that. Man, this defense is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter and more arrogant and more defiant. All right. And that's what you want. As a former defensive coordinator, I loved when my defenses got to that point. All right. When they got to that point, like we double dog dare you to do something. You know what I mean? And because we're ready. And I think they have the opportunity to get there. And I think this defense is going to be a pleasant surprise for Bears fans and a pleasant surprise around the NFL.
Yeah. And I think, when they had Eberflus and they had all these guys come in, I think it's all about building a culture, and especially with defense, I think it's a very important part because all the great teams, all the good teams around the league, they have this dog mentality when it comes to defense, and they're like, we're coming out for everybody. Doesn't matter who you are, we're coming for you. I don't care who what your name is, whatever. And you want that especially for these guys that at the Bears end. Hopefully it adds to that, and they can build that culture because that would be awesome. The Bears finished the preseason with some injuries, to some key offensive linemen, which of course is an issue for a lot of teams, especially for the Bears last season. But do you think the Bears season will be largely affected by lineman injuries like that again, or is it just one of those things, that they're just gonna have to deal with and adapt? We'll start with you, Shawn. What do you think?
Yeah, that's where the Bears season lies. That's where the balance lies in the offensive line, because if the offensive line stays healthy, right, and we were able to run the ball, then we have the entire playbook at our disposal. Okay. Play action is going to be huge. All right. Now you're going to have, now you're going to have the tight ends really involved in play action because linebackers are flying up because we're getting 3, 4, 5 yards a pop. But that's the last thing you want as a defense. And believe me, we know because that happened to us last year. All right. They're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a pop on the ground, and we couldn't stop a runny nose. All right, so if we're able, this offensive line, if they're able to give these running backs, we have a nice 3-headed monster in the backfield. If we're able to get 3, 4 yards a pop, 4 to 5 yards a pop, that's a problem for defense. So now you're stuck. So do you bring a safety down, someone in the box? So now you can't bracket DJ Moore. If you don't bracket DJ Moore, now you're asking for a whole bunch of hurt. But now Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney, you're in contract years. You're never going to see a bracket or a shade or a double team. So now you got to win the one-on-ones. And I just mentioned the 2 tight ends. If this offense can rely on the running game and let the running game lead them, man, it's going to open up so much for Justin Fields, so much for DJ Moore, so much for the whole wide receiving crew, tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs involved, because these running backs are going to swing. You see a blitz coming, man, he fake blocks. He swings out, get it to him in the flat. Man, there's a whole lot of real estate. So, where this offensive line, we're going to go as far as this offensive line for the most part takes us, because if they can do that and dominate, man, oh man, oh man. Like I said, the whole playbook. Luke Getz is going to be able to pull out every single play he has and run it multiple times.
I agree, and that's the thing that looking forward to this season. You want Fields to be electric. You want him to have some great runs, but hey, not every single time it's when he needs to, right? Because you don't want your guy beat up. And we saw him towards the latter ends, to the latter part of last season. He was a little beat up, and we could see that. So hopefully that's one of those things that definitely shores up. But what's your opinion, Joe? Like, you think it's one of those things where they're just gonna have to deal with it all season once again? Do you see some guys stepping up? Anybody like that in particular?
You know what? I think the NFL is, it's a league it's a collision sport. You're gonna
Yep.
have injuries, and it really boils down, to the depth and quality of your roster. And I think that Poles, did a decent job managing it. It kind of got hairy, towards the end of preseason and in training camp. But he brought in a guy like Dan Feely. It's always great to have a guy like Cody White in there. It kind of helps solidify things on the interior. You know, we still need Nate Davis, to prove that he can play, but I think he will. But I think as long as we can, manage and keep those guys healthy, the depth of the roster is, greatly improved. And I think they should be able to manage and get through the season, and have a successful season. That's not, fall down by injury. Um, I think, some of the, guys that I'm looking to, kind of stay healthy is, a guy like Jaquan Brisker who plays really physical. You get concerned about him because of how much he puts into the game, and how he sacrifices his body, so that could have some effect on his play. We lost Eddie Jackson to injury last year, so we've kind of seen how important our players are, especially our starters. So it's going to be really important for them to stay healthy throughout the season.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think, as you said, we saw how important Eddie Jackson was when he went down. So, it's one of those things where, as you said, the NFL is a collision sport. It's a big collision. A lot of things happen, a lot of bad things happen, especially in the NFL. So, definitely, the Bears will have to deal with this all season long, and hopefully, there's guys that step up because I think that's one of the best parts of in general in sports when guys step up, to the calling. Looking at the Bears' schedule, which games are you guys keeping an eye on? And according to Sharp Football Analysis, the Bears have the sixth easiest schedule in the league. But who knows how much you put into that stock in general. But what's some of the games that you guys have highlighted? There's the Chiefs in Week 3. There's the Chargers in Week 8. Is there any game in particular you guys are seeing? And what do you guys think about the Bears' schedule overall? Do you buy that easy schedule thing? We'll start with you, Shawn.
No, that's just bullshit. Just to sell
Mm-hmm.
and clickbait, right? Because no
Mm-hmm.
team is ever the same. All right, because
Yeah.
the Bear. What if the Bears go 13-4? All right,
Yep.
they're an easy schedule. They're on the shit team list from last year, and people look at them as a win. All right, but so when they come out with the easiest schedule, it's for people who don't know the game. They're just trying to get the
Mm-hmm.
average Joe to buy shit. Like, oh, and to use like they got the easy schedule. You don't know what a team's going to be. All right, you don't know what a team. One key injury goes down, all of a sudden that team who was a stud, who was a powerhouse. I mean, look what happened in the past when with the year that Tom Brady went down to game 1. All right,
Mm-hmm.
believe you me, that was teams weren't looking at that team as a win for most of the season until that when that happened. Like, oh shit, now we got to win. So that whole strength of schedule, yeah, no, don't worry about it. It's something that people do just because they want content for whatever, just content really. I think the Bears are gonna. I think as the year goes on, I think you want me to give you a number or
Oh, no, yeah, we'll get to that one. We'll get to that
okay,
one.
okay. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I think the Bears are going to be fine, and trust me, the Bears are going to be one of those teams that people, if you thought that was an easy W, yeah, you may want to reevaluate that because this team is going to put a lot of people on notice. And you talked about the game, my game, week 3 in Kansas City. Not saying they're going to put it this. I'm saying I will not be surprised if they win it, but they will definitely make their presence felt in Kansas City. Definitely.
Oh yeah, and hey, you said it best, man. I mean, it's true. Those things. It's one of those things where people talk about easy schedule, but you got to go out there and win those games. So I'll bring in another sport that people are talking about that right now, and it's with baseball. The Cubs are going into a stretch, where like it's an easy schedule, but it's like what you got to go out there and play the game. Like I always say, like it'll be a big game, whether it be the Bears, whether it be the Bulls, or all that, and I'll tell my dad's gonna be a tough game, but my dad's like, hey, until you get out there and go 1v1, anything can happen. I think that's the best part about sports in general. So that's
Yeah.
yeah. What about you, Joe? What do you think overall on the schedule? Any games that you highlight, or any one particular match that you're excited for?
I mean, Shine is absolutely correct. These NFL teams, they're always working on their roster, trying to upgrade each and every position. None of these teams are the same, and and those players get paid too. They're trying to get better in the off season too. They've gotten more experience as well. So none of these teams are the same. So calling it the easier schedule, and the NFL is like one of the the biggest worst to first leagues there is. We've seen it so many times. And we're right now we're hoping that the Bears answer that call going from worst to first, and then they have a pretty good chance to do it. And I think some of the games that I'm looking for, I don't like Detroit. I'm not. Yeah, I just don't like Detroit. So I don't like Detroit. Definitely Green Bay. You know what I'm saying? Those games, any of the division games, because I think the Bears have a real good chance of being competitive in that division, and they can sneak up, and take it if teams aren't careful. So those division games are going to be really important.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they always are, but especially when it comes to the Packers and the Lions, especially this year, and I think it's gonna be a dogfight. Honestly, I think people aren't giving enough credit not only to the Bears, but just in general the whole division. I think it's gonna be a dogfight. So, I'm definitely hyped for that those matchups. But we'll finish out with the game of over under. I want to get you guys' thoughts on certain stats. What you guys think where guys are gonna finish off. Especially we'll get to the wins and losses as Shawn mentioned as well. So we'll start with Justin Fields in over under. 2,775 and a half passing yards. We'll start with you, Shawn. What do you think?
Over, way over. I got him 32 to 35. If things go well, he can push 38. Things go really well, he could push 4. But 32 to 35 is where I see him. He's got too many weapons. He's got too many weapons. His legs are a weapon. That scares people. So you're gonna fall back and let him run through. You saw how many teams he ran. He took it 40 plus. You know what I'm saying? 50 plus. So you're gonna have to keep someone up on him, and he's gonna be. And then look who's got DJ Moore. He's one of the Yak King. You saw that right in the middle of the field. Did a little spinorama and said, "All right, I can't go. I can't stay. I got to go." And another 20, 25 yards up the sideline. You're gonna get guys with yak, and we talked about those meshing, crossing, pick routes. Man, you're going to get Velus Jones, Tyler Scott, hell, even DJ Moore, Chase Claypool. Those dudes are up. Good luck catching those guys. So easily over 27, whatever. I said 32 to 35.
No, yeah. I think when you add guys like that, it's only going to give more stats to Justin Fields. Everyone's going to help each other. It's going to be a stat party. So, yeah. Joe, what about you? What do you think? Over, under? I'll say it again, 2,775 and a half.
I'm definitely going over. Last year, he threw for about 2,200 yards, and he was throwing to St. Brown and Dante Pettis. Yeah, so
he's throwing to us out there, Joe.
Right, he was throwing to guys like us. So when you add DJ Moore, you have a healthy Claypool. You got Mooney. You got Tyler Scott. You add Robert Tonyan. Is a very good receiving tight end. It's going to be easy to exceed 2,700 yards, saying for him. I don't know. I don't have a max, but, definitely over 2,700 yards.
I think it's going to be fun to see what he can do in the air and in general this year with more weapons, and just more, versatile guys. For DJ Moore, I saw some that had him over 8.5, had him over 9.5, but I'll go 10.5 touchdowns. I know you guys are excited for DJ Moore. So over under 10.5 touchdowns for DJ Moore. We'll start with you, Shawn. What do you think?
Under. I say he gets 10. 9 or 10 is good because and here's why. There's so many options. So many you still got Darnell Mooney, you still got Chase Claypool, and those two dudes are in contract years. And then don't forget the tight ends in the red zone. He's got a lot of options. It's not, and I know I said like Cutler to Marshall, but Justin Fields ain't going to force it in like Jay Cutler used to do in triple coverage. He's going to hit the open guy. I mean, and if he has 10, he falls under, but that's a hell of a year, 10 touchdowns. I say he has between 8 and 10 touchdowns this season, but I don't think over 10 and a half. No, it's under.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, it's real hard for me to go with the over 10.5. I think he's going to be under, and I think because he has so many more weapons, they're going to force him to spread the ball around, and there's going to be some game plans where DJ Moore is going to be a decoy. The plan is to get the other guys open, and so I think yeah, definitely under.
And then also another one, Bears wins 7.5. I know Shawn was talking about they're gonna have a great year, but is here where you can put your number on it. Over 7.5, and if so, if you think it's over, how many wins do you think they're gonna get?
Way over. I said 10-7. 10-7, and people looked at me. I'm crazy. I'm like, there were far too many one-score games last year. And if people talk about, well, you're going to stop Justin Fields, again, these are people who don't know football. You mean to tell me the first time Justin Fields ran one for 50 plus that they didn't say, okay, we got to watch this guy? And what did he do it like 4 times, 5 times, 6 times? Okay, you don't think they had film on it? You don't think they tried to stop him as well? Of course they did. All right, so you're not going to be able you're stuck. You're literally stuck. 10 wins, minimum 10 wins, but I'll say 10-7.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. All right. What about you,
He
Joe?
said, hell yeah.
I'm fired up. I'm ready to go out there and run after that.
You know what? I'm going over. I'm going over. I think yeah, I'm going over. They're definitely going to win some games that people don't expect them to win. I think the defense is going to be improved. And like Shawn said, they lost a lot of one-score games, and I think these are games this year that they'll win and be able to overcome and get those victories. I'm thinking about 9 wins, about 9 wins.
Okay.
Right around me. Yeah, right around the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm more on the side. Like, trust me, Shawn convinced me. You get 10 wins, no doubt. After that, what he said there. But I was kind of leaning. I was leaning more 9 also as well, kind of going into it. So we'll see what happens. But that's the one thing I like. With that I think that the Bears are going to win a lot of games, as Joe said, that a lot of people don't expect them to, and that's the best part. And that's the thing. I'm also the same side as Shawn with that Chiefs game, because I'm like, man, if they win that one, I'm gonna be like, we knew it all along, right? But it's one of those things where, yeah, exactly. So I can't wait for that type of game for to happen. But
remember DJ Moore. Remember he's a big time player.
Yeah,
he's a big time player, which is why these one-score games are going to be different. Remember that game against, wasn't it the Saints, where he actually cost them the game, but he caught that pass. He got behind everybody else, caught the pass. And then he was so fired up, he took off his helmet, and they got in a 15-yard penalty and moved the extra point back, and they missed it, and they lost it by 1. But the catch, like that dude, he's what, to borrow a phrase from Dickie V, he's a PTPer, baby. He's a primetime player. All right, Justin Fields wants that. Justin Fields needs that. Justin Fields had that at Ohio State. He didn't have to worry about it. Me and my boys, we got you. Good luck trying to stay with these guys all game. Now he's got one of those dudes right there in DJ Moore, and we won't talk about drafting one next year, but he's got one dude right there. He's got a guy, when it's time to go, there's certain people who gravitate toward that moment. All right, in any sport, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, it doesn't matter. Justin Fields is one of them. DJ Moore is another one.
100%. The last one I want to ask you guys is the over/under NFC North playoff teams. Over/under 1.5. Joe, what do you think?
NFC North playoff teams? Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm going to go under. And the reason I'm under is because I think you can win North Division with 9 wins.
Okay. What about you, Shawn?
I think over. I think we'll get 2. I'm really concerned about 2 teams. I'm concerned about the Lions. I'm concerned about the Packers. I'd say Packers more so than the Lions. Reason being, Detroit will always Detroit themselves. All right, they're going to do something stupid. DeAndre Swift drops a wide open touchdown pass. No one in the end zone drops it. They lose. All right, they're starting off Jamison Williams, their stud receiver from Alabama, who missed last year because of an ACL. He's missing the first 6 games because of gambling. So they're ready to Detroit themselves. All right. So, and also one other receiver as well. If Green Bay, if Jordan Love starts to get on the same page, that run game, because they're going to run the ball. Their formula for success is just like ours. They're gonna run the ball. And if Jordan Love really starts to get a connection with Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs, it's going to be the last, because if I'm not mistaken, we're first and last. We play them first game here, and the last game of the season is over there. So that's going to be one hell of a matchup, and it could be for division. I think both teams could end up making the playoffs.
So, Shawn, in your eyes, Vikings not even in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, they'll be competitive for a minute, and you get rid of Dalvin Cook. I don't know. Kirk Cousins is going to Kirk Cousins himself. He's going to Detroit himself too somehow, some way. So, and I said either the Lions or the Packers, because the culture that the Detroit has fostered, I like it, man. It's similar to one we got here. All right, but I say next year, as long as you got guys who don't get suspended for gambling. All right, I think if they have a whole season with everybody, it's Jameson Williams. Because I'm not a fan of Goff. I think Goff is gonna screw it up somehow, some way. So we'll see.
No, yeah. As you said, Detroit's gonna Detroit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean that's you can't argue with that logic whatsoever. I mean it's what we expect from every Detroit team, one way or another. So, well, the last thing I wanted to get out of the way, and I think something that's not talked about a lot. It's not that crazy important, but I wanted to get you guys' take on it. How do you guys feel about the Bears switching their primary logo to the secondary logo? They're going more towards the bear than the C now. How do you guys feel about that? See, look, Shawn, I see you like that one. So how do you feel about that? With the primary logo and the swap.
I love it. It's. I know this may sound weird, but it's bigger. It's fuller.
Yeah.
All right. You have the wishbone C, and it's very 1920s, 1940s, 1960s. Okay, and that's cool. But we all have to evolve. All right. Yep. And we're not taking away the wishbone C. We're just moving it around. All right. It's still one of the logos. It's still a trademark, but I like the bear. It's full, it's big, it's the presence that it has. I know I'm making a lot of it, but it's the first thing you see now. I mean, this thing, I mean, what cool thing what animation can you do with the wishbone C? A swirl and you can do a lot of crazy cool stuff with the bear head. I like it, man. I like it. I like it. To borrow a phrase from Dumb and Dumber, I like it a lot.
Yeah, you're right. I was just gonna say that the reason they did it was I guess they said to distinguish more like the Bears, because I guess the C, for example, the Cincinnati Reds have it. A lot of teams have that C or whatever. So I get what their intentions were with that, in the sense of, I guess, trying to distinguish it more. And the bear, I guess, just more intimidating. But Joe, what do you think overall?
Real quick, Papa Bear took that from University of Chicago.
Oh, there you go. What do you think, Joe?
And that's the thing. I'm okay with it. I like the bear. I like the bear head. Yeah, I think, like Shawn said, we could do a lot cooler stuff with it. And I'm looking forward. Hopefully we can get those things on the side of the helmet. I think that would be really cool.
1 or 2 games. Hell yeah.
I think that would be really cool. Yeah.
That'd be pretty badass if they were able to do that. And I mean, NFL's always trying to do something every year with uniforms, and it's definitely interesting to see what they do there. But
it's a good place. With Nike, dude. They're partnering with Nike. Their uniforms. So Nike, you just look at Oregon and all the crazy uniforms they got. That's why they got the the Nike. They work with Nike. And they got the Color Rush uniforms and everything. I like it. I'm waiting for those what do they call the North Pole of the Arctic one. If you have white shirt, white pants, white helmet.
Oh yeah,
with the bear logo. Ooh. Oh, come on, man, that's tight. And you can either have the blue tights underneath, or the orange tights underneath, or the white tights underneath. I mean, you're talking Arctic. Yeah, dog. I'm telling you, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
And that's the thing. That's what I like about Nike, that they try all these things with the uniforms, whether it be the NBA, MLB now. Like, I like that they do that. They're outside of the box, because some teams, and regardless of the traditional, like, I'm a big fan of like the Yankee uniforms. I get it. The Cubs stripes, all that, whatever. But it's cool to change it up sometimes, especially with the alternate jersey. If you have it, why not work with it? See what happens.
Those fan bases, you're going to sell a hell of a lot of jerseys anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
Bingo. It's all follow the money. It's all about the money.
100%, man. I think it's a good place to wrap things up for this edition of the Bears Den. I want to thank my co-hosts, Joe Tanksley and Shawn Sierra. Again, welcome to the gang. And we'll be with you all season long covering the Bears. I know Shawn will be there on Sundays to check out his coverage as well. On all social media platforms, follow at War Media. We have our socials down there as well, so you can check us out. Well, again, thanks for coming. My name is Saul Rodriguez. Join us next week. This was the Bears Den. Take it easy, everybody.